Hello, and welcome to another episode of Gilded Shadows. Last time we left off, we were pretty much about to see things get interesting. I don't know how else to put it. Our poor baby boy already got hurt, and that's why he has this green webbing all over his face. And Trent's about to arrive any second now, who is, for those of you who don't remember, our ex-boyfriend, and we have been tasked with digging for information on the lab that he's been working at for the last year to see if they've been up to some sort of human experimentation to give humans Esper abilities, from what I understand. Anyway, let's jump right on in. He'd returned in time to hear that and slide a tray of drinks to the center of the table, pulling a cup of tea off for himself. They're all fine. Mom was glad to finally get a message from me. Apparently she's been badgering Endgame about not being able to send messages. She said Dad was giving it another week before he came down here personally and demanded to see me. That would have been fun to watch. Well, I can't disagree with that, but I'm glad they didn't have to. They were pretty shocked by everything that happened, but they're adjusting. What about your brother on Sierra? Oh yeah, you've got a brother up in the middle of that mess. He's not in the middle of it. He's in the fringe settlement. They're dealing with some supply shortages, but there's not been any violence. Most of the people are just normal citizens who want to live peacefully. That probably describes most of the people up there, really. When was the last time your parents heard from your brother? With communications down. Well, Dad has some connections, I guess. They've been able to talk to Oliver a few times on a government channel. I think the last time they spoke to him was a few days ago. I'm glad to hear that. I'm sure it's pretty nerve-wracking having anyone you care about up there. They've been more worried about me, to be honest. I mean, at least they're hearing from Oliver regularly. It was just silence from me. Mom was terrified I'd been sent up there to fight on the front lines or something. Oh, that's right. I'm having flashbacks to the first conversation we had with Mom where she was like planning a party for us because we passed our exam. No one's putting you anywhere near fighting anytime soon. Yeah, we'll see about that, Caleb. Yeah, I tried to assure her of that. Anyway, as for everyone else, Wayne finds the whole thing fascinating, and it's inspired him to try and get into the Special Investigations Department. Brian is carrying on Brian is carrying on as usual. He's still studying, so it wasn't as much of a shake-up for him as I expected it to be. He's already settling in. So there's Brian, and there's Wayne, and there's Oliver. Does she have 3 brothers? I'm so confused. And then Daniel? Does she have 4? What is going on? Daniel took it a little harder than everyone else, but his fiancée refused to let him leave without her. It was apparently dramatic and very romantic. I'm pleased to learn they're all well. Well, considering you reached out to them before I did, I'm surprised you weren't already aware. Oh, oh, oh. How do I say that? What now? You reached out when? Right after the meeting we all had with Magnus. He told you about that. He wouldn't shut up about it, so we finally went hunting for a way to reach out to Morgan's family to assure them she was alright. I told him it was a waste of time, but he insisted. Really now? Morgan was concerned they would worry about her, and was concerned Endgame wouldn't take the time to give them updates about her status. I only reached out once to tell them she was under my care and that she was adapting. And it wasn't a waste of time. They were really happy you contacted them. Mom said thank you. She also said it would be nice if you had replied to her thank you message with something other than a short note. Especially one about how relaying their message to me might be upsetting and that you recommended they wait until I could reach out myself. Hang on, I need to take a drink real quick. Ari is literally the definition of socially awkward. Which, I mean, that totally works for me because I have quite a bit of social awkwardness myself. But I mean, he gives me a run for my money. But they was still grateful. Me too. I mean, I would have liked it if you told me you talked to them, but thank you for taking the time to do that. Fawn loudly sipped her drink, watching us with amusement over the top of her glass. I was doing my best to ignore her. Vaughn. Vaughn is, like I said, she's like the older sister of the group that always insists on embarrassing you. Which, I'm sure we've all been that at some point. But, yeah. Anyway, anything else interesting they reported? For the most part, no. I mean, they're normal people. They wouldn't have anything to say that would they wouldn't have anything to say that would interest anyone outside the family. Though Mom heard from Trent recently, I thought they were hiding out, but apparently not to the point he couldn't find them. Who? It's a Oh, that's Ari. It's the acquaintance of Morgan's who is also on Sira, the one who will be with the researchers arriving today. Did you not read the briefing report? Probably just skimmed it as usual. It's not my assignment. Anyway, acquaintance is kind of vague. What exactly is your history with this guy? Jesus, Caleb, you just come right out and say it. Ex-boyfriend, maybe? And Vaughn. um. Wait, seriously? It's not that shocking, Vaughn. Yes, he's an ex. We broke up a year ago. I haven't seen or spoken to him since then. Ooh. Vaughn, none of us want to hear that relationship drama. I don't know, Caleb. Vaughn seems pretty interested. Thank you, Caleb. I think. I want to. It's not that interesting. A year ago, he left for his internship on Sita. I didn't hear from him after that until right before I came here. Wait, this guy just never contacted you again after leaving, and that was how he broke up with you? What a creep. When are they arriving today? Vaughn, no. I can tell what you're thinking, and no. Come on, what kind of behavior is that? That boy needs a talking to. I suspect giving him a talking to might make it difficult for Morgan to complete her assignment. Speaking of which, I believe your first report should include the fact that he was the only one who knew you were in Esper, potentially F class at that, and that he contacted you in recent weeks. I was planning to... Whoa, what now? These revelations are freaking me out. Did he just say you're a fairy Esper? Oh, Vaughn didn't know? You didn't know? I assume Magnus told you all. I mean, Ari was aware. I figured it out on my own, but I assumed you'd have put it together as well, Vanessa. The shade. The fact that everyone in the entire organization isn't talking about it should have clued you into that. Still, given you can mimic Ari's psi waves and he's a fairy, I guess that makes sense. Not sure a normal queen could do that. Oh, yeah, that's an interesting point. Sylvie never got the hang of your style of teleportation, did she? Was Sylvie the last queen? She did not, nor the abilities of any other F-class in Endgame. Not that there are many of them. So the previous queen couldn't mimic fairy espers. Interesting. Still, this ex-boyfriend of yours sounds suspicious as hell. I agree. Oh, wow. We can defend... I'm not going to defend Trent. I mean, he does seem suspicious, for sure. So we can agree with Caleb, and that's the analytical answer, interesting, or we can reserve judgment. I mean, to be honest, he does seem suspicious. I talked about this all the way back in, like, the very second episode. How it's really weird how, he's really, really interested in F-class espers, and Morgan just so happens to be an F-class esper, and he's the only one who knows about her abilities. It does seem suspicious. That doesn't mean that, like, we should be, sabotaging him or, doing things to, I don't know. Like I said, I have mixed feelings on this, but overall I do agree with what Caleb's saying. It does seem a little strange. There are a lot of potential connection points, which is suspicious, but even if Trent had ulterior motives for contacting me, I'm not sure what they could have been. What would he hope to gain? Well, you are a Queen rank Esper, Morgan. Maybe he wanted to drag you off to Syrah to join the cause. He would know that was going to be a complete failure. Maybe he just wanted to rekindle things. That would have been a failure too. Perhaps he wanted to gather data for someone he believed could be a fairy. Even without involvement in illicit experimentation that would align with his research. See, that's what I'm thinking. And man, any man brave enough to ghost an ex for a year, then show up to ask if he can get some data about their secret psi abilities would have to have a spine of titanium. Oh gosh. Any ex-boyfriend of mine that tried that would have regretted it. Oh, interesting. I can't argue there. And Trent does know. And Trent does not. Sorry. Let me reread that. I can't argue there, and Trent does not. I've seen him go up against roaches, so I can attest to the decided lack of titanium. Perhaps. But even their official research is about being able to mimic F-class abilities. Perhaps he wants to explore a queen's mimicry skills. Ooh. I already said even I didn't know what my rank was. There was no way he could have. That isn't necessarily true, Morgan. And even so, he probably had suspicions that you were an F-class Esper since you didn't have any of those physiological abilities, even if he didn't know your rank. Is that really true? Based on your history, isn't it possible he surmised you were able to stay hidden for so long, not only because you were a fairy Esper, but because you were a queen rank capable of concealing your psi waves? I guess that's possible, though he never said anything like that to me. In any case, I'm not even interested in why he reached out to me, just if he's got any connections to the rebellion and the alleged experimentation going on. However, it would be best to stay on your guard until you know his motives. My main concern is whether you'll be able to be impartial in all this if you still have feelings for her. I don't, believe me. I do not have any residual feelings at all. The other concern is if you're still pissed at him. I don't think I'm angry at him still. And even if I was, it's not enough for me to automatically assume he's some nefarious spy. Yeah, but I mean, I also want to make it completely clear. If he pulls some kind of ex-boyfriend stupidity while he's here, we will kick his ass. Vaughn, please don't jeopardize the success of Morgan's first assignment by doing anything unreasonable. Hey, I'm just saying, she's ours now. He has to keep his grubby hands off. Aw, Vaughn. See, I'm an older sister, so I understand her protectiveness. That's totally the vibes I'm getting from her. All that aside, assuming he knows something, you think you'll be able to get anything out of him? Who can say? I've never tried to get anything out of someone before. But Trent likes to talk about his work. If I can get him rambling, maybe he'll blurt out something he shouldn't. I'm sure you'll do fine. It's almost time for them to arrive, so I was planning to head down to the lobby soon. I need to find Mara. I guess I'll be heading off too. Caleb and I were supposed to report to the medical center. Oh, I'm sure Dr. Sasaki will be thrilled that you've all been in here for the last half hour talking to me. That's what I was wondering. I was like, shouldn't you guys go get Ari medical care? I don't much care whether he is or not. The only reason I'm even going is so I don't have to listen to Ari's nagging. And because I swear I'll murder that jerk if I wake up to find him lurking in my room again. What? Dr. Sasaki did that? Caleb has a bad habit of not checking in when he's supposed to. And Sasaki is a bloody stalker when it comes to his precious surrogate baby brother. Baby brother, huh? She stood and stretched, giving me a slight smile. Anyway, Morgan, I'll check in on you later, okay? What a combination. It makes so much sense. When I first met Dr. Sasaki, I called him Caleb 2.0 as a joke. Oh, the irony. Sure, I mean, I'm not planning to do much but say hello today, so I'm not sure I'll have much to report. Vaughn leaned down and looked me dead in the eye as she reached over to tuck my hair behind my ear. Save the report for your actual report. I don't care how long it's been. Seeing this guy again might be harder than you expect. I'm going to check in to see how you're doing, not to listen to a report about your assignment. Thanks, I'm sure I'll be fine, but thanks. Good, I'll talk to you then, and I'll see you two later. After Vaughn left, Caleb reluctantly followed suit, leaving me alone with Ari. If you would like, I can go with you today. I don't think that's necessary. I'm just going to see him again, get a feel for things. I suppose that's logical. I'm concerned this may be more difficult for you than you realize. I appreciate the concern, from all of you, but I really think you're underestimating me here. I may not be great at defending myself yet, but I'm not so fragile I can't handle talking to someone. I don't mean to underestimate, nor do I believe you are fragile. It's just my experience that emotions are difficult. That's an interesting statement coming from Ari. You find emotions difficult? I would have never guessed. Morgan, I'm being serious. While I am aware I'm not the most emotionally demonstrative person, it isn't as if I lack them. I didn't mean it that way. Regardless of the fact that you feel that you've moved on, you may find it difficult to work on an assignment that means suspecting someone you once cared for, someone you feel you know well. It is all right if you find it challenging. You are allowed to ask for help. Wow, I'm very surprised by. I think this is the most Ari has talked since, we've known him. I was a little taken aback by what seemed to be sincere concern about this. They were all overthinking it. I reached for Ari's hands, giving them a gentle squeeze. He looked down at them, seemingly startled by the sudden touch. Thank you for worrying about me. I promise I'll ask for help if I need it, but I'll be okay, especially today. I understand. And Ari, you please be careful too. I know you can't always help getting hurt, but this worries me. I hesitantly reached up to touch the web on his face. A lot. This is a new expression on his face. Ari caught my hand, and it seemed like he gave it the barest hint of a squeeze before releasing it. I'll do my best. You better get going too. Once Dr. Sasaki will come looking for you. Very well. Alone again, I let out a sigh. Talking to them had made me even more nervous about it all, but it wasn't like I could hide here and avoid everything. I guess that means I should get going. First, I needed to go back to my room and leave my handheld display there, and grab my jacket. I finished the last of my drink and left the lounge. I adjusted my collar for what felt like the 20th time, twisting my neck from side to side. It probably needed to be properly broken in. The only other time I'd worn this uniform had been that meeting with Magnus. Ah, yes, she's got on her endgame outfit. There was still a bit of imposter syndrome going on. The lift slowed to a stop, and I took a deep breath as the door slid open, revealing the lobby. Weirdly, I hadn't been down here much. I was gonna say, is this a new background? I mean, I love this. It's so sleek. It's very pretty. I suppose I hadn't had a reason to. It highlighted the fact that I hadn't left the building once since my arrival, though. But that was another matter. I raised my chin and stepped off, looking around. It was busy, but even so, I spotted Trent right away. I'm interested to see what our ex is going to look like. My stomach fluttered anxiously. Everything I'd practiced saying over and over again flew out of my head as I leaned against a pillar a short distance from the front desk where they were being checked in. What if I screw this up? I didn't even know how I should approach him. He had no idea I'd be coming to greet them. What if I'm too obvious? What if he's really involved and I have to expose him? That's what I'm concerned about. What if he's not involved and I don't learn anything? I took a slow breath and tried to focus. I'm just saying hello. I watched the familiar lines of his body as he spoke to the receptionist, as if something would give away his intentions. As if the possibility he was involved in the rebellion, or that he had ulterior motives for coming here, would somehow be written in his posture, or revealed by the awkward way he rubbed his neck. He always does that when talking to strangers. But of course, he looked the same as always, and there was nothing strange about his behavior. The other two people with him, a man and a woman, had their backs to me, but I had seen their faces in the briefing report. Trent turned away from the desk, shuffling his luggage to the side to let one of the others step up to check in. Oh, this is our boyfriend? He's cute. I'm sorry. Oh, I did not just say boyfriend. Scratch that. He's our ex. He's our ex. He's very cute, which concerns me, because he's cute in a way that looks very innocent, which makes me think that's by design. That he's not so innocent, which is why they're trying to make him look innocent. Anyway, he looked up and our eyes met. For a moment, he paused, half bent over the bag, staring. It was as if it took a moment to realize who it was. Recognition, then disbelief flashed over his features, and then he was juggling whatever was in his hand and nearly dropped it as he tried to stow it in the bag. Somehow, I expected to be angrier to see him. Weirdly, I felt nothing. Well, maybe a little sad. I left my place by the pillars. Trent finally got his things situated. He left his bags where they were and took 5 quick strides towards me, a radiant smile on his face. Hello, Trent. He engulfed me in a hug before I got the words out, leaning back so my feet lifted off the ground. Wow! He didn't just hit us with a hug, he hit us with one of those hugs. Trent, put me down. He did so, laughing. Hey, Moore. I missed you. Okay, clearly Moore is short for Morgan. I wonder what he would have called us if we changed the name for MC. And before I could respond, he leaned down to plant an enthusiastic kiss on my lips, stunning me and everyone in the immediate vicinity into absolute silence. What the actual... Wow. Yeah, even the music stopped. Like, you haven't seen this girl in a year. Haven't said anything to her. Nothing. And that is how you were going to greet her? Morgan, you should slap this boy. That's where it ends. Chapter 8, Unexpected Revelation. Okay. I have no idea how to react to what I just read. There definitely seems to be a disparity between the way that Morgan feels about the situation and Trent. But like I said, I don't trust Trent. I feel like our exes has some not necessarily malicious intentions, but has different intentions than what he presents to Morgan. What was he thinking? It had been a year since we last spoke, and somehow he thought that was the best greeting. I'm with you, Morgan, 110%. In what universe did that make sense? He had the higher oxygen levels on Sierra damaged his brain. I blocked a very light punch from Ari and retaliated with one of my own. Ari blocked it easily, of course. Despite being in the middle of our training session, my mind was miles away. As much as I kept trying to focus on the sparring match, my thoughts kept returning to Trent. He had taken me completely by surprise, and yet I had realized at some point that he shouldn't have. He was still just himself, that idiot. In any other situation, I'd have been able to yell at him, to tell him he didn't get to waltz back a year later and behave as if we were still together. But under the circumstances, I couldn't even do that. I didn't even think about it. Because she's trying to dig up information, right? She has to maintain this rapport with him, so she can't just slap him like I would have done. Oh, that's gotta burn. After his enthusiastic greeting, which had been in front of a lobby full of people, including his 2 research partners, I had at least stammered out that I'd come to greet them officially because I had volunteered to oversee their team. I managed to hit a tone somewhere between quite quiet indignation and outrage because whatever I was feeling in that moment had to be sandwiched between things like job and duty. Somehow it made it even worse that I had to keep my anger to myself. Well, of course, Morgan, like, this guy just ghosted you. And then, you know, she shows back up. Not even to see you again, but because he's here, doing research for F class aspers. And he just acts like absolutely nothing is wrong. Like, hey, babe, Oh man. Okay, look at this affection meter with Ari. It's looking good. Uh, do we have any information on what's his face? Profiles on Trent? I wish that we did. Especially now that I know what he looks like. Huh. Somehow it made it even worse that I had to keep my anger to myself. After that, he had tried to pepper me with questions, but I'd blurted out an excuse, then basically ran away, telling him we'd catch up later. Oh man. How awkward. Then there had been an awkward chase across the lobby to the lift. Morgan, wait, come back. Stop following me. Oh my gosh. I was doing my absolute best to maintain some sense of dignity as I strode back the way I'd come. That was difficult to do with my face flaming and Trent following me. I pressed the button to lift and whirled around on Trent. I am on duty right now, Trent. This is my place of employment now. You can't just kiss me or chase me through the lobby. Do you want to get yourself thrown out and me reprimanded for unprofessional behavior? Sorry, Morgan, I missed you. I wasn't considering where we were. Okay, my voice is about to give out, guys, so I am gonna end it here. Wow, though, that was things have taken quite the turn. All I have to say is the gall that this man has to have, I mean, yeah, that's about all I can say. I feel very bad for Morgan that she's in this position where she can't even really give him a piece of her mind because she has this assignment. But I really hope that he doesn't end up being involved in this genetic experimentation. Just because it's going to put Morgan in a really tough situation. And clearly she does sort of still feel some sort of way about the situation. Not like romantically or anything, but, offended and hurt at the way that he's acting. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Let me know how you guys felt about the whole situation and about, the way that Trent is acting. And, yeah, because maybe I'm overreacting, but I just feel like, I mean, it's nice that he still cares about her, I guess. I don't know. But it's been a year without any communication. I mean, for all he knows, she could have found herself another boyfriend, which, is what we're working on with someone else right now. But, one step at a time. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you next time.